What's up, Taiwan? Good evening. I'm Erika Liu with 10 minutes of news from here in Taiwan and around the world. Taiwan reported a total of 92 new cases of COVID-19 on Wednesday, half local, half imported. With the Lunar New Year fast approaching, temples will be very crowded, so they are taking steps to stop the spread of the virus. Our reporter Sandy Chi has the story.
Tossing divination blocks is a long-standing tradition at temples in Taiwan. It's a way for worshippers to communicate with the gods. But with the COVID-19 pandemic now in its second year, the faithful trust that the gods understand their need to be cautious. New rules mean that temple visitors must wear gloves and masks when divining their fates, and they're being encouraged to use their own tools.
那个宝贝你自己带来，保完你带回家，这是为了大家的安全、大家的健康。平常我们也没有那么多志工，每天派人在那边看着你，我们就直接收掉。
The temple is also disinfected twice a day.
那我们也会有专人，就是定期、定时，来针对这些部分来做一些清消的动作。
The precautions are welcomed by temple goers.
我感觉安全啊。安尼啊。嘿。系啊，我感觉对人民啊，什么系拢真好啊。
The Omicron variant has also burst the Taiwan-Palau travel bubble after the government raised the alert level for the Pacific Island nation. Now all travelers arriving from Palau must undergo a 14-day quarantine, the same as arrivals from other countries. Amid the rising COVID case numbers, some heartening news. 1.51 million Moderna vaccine doses arrived in Taiwan on Tuesday. The shipment is part of a 35 million dose deal Taiwan signed with the manufacturer in July last year. To date, 81% of Taiwan's population has received one dose of a COVID vaccine, some 74% have 2 doses, and 19% are boosted with the 3rd shot. As families gather to celebrate the new year, there's one wish they will share: for a virus-free holiday. Patrick Chen and Sandy Chi for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan's food industry took a big hit last year from a surge in local COVID cases. It saw its biggest drop in revenue in a decade. Food and beverage sales were down 6% across the board in 2021. That was the second year of negative growth and the second worst year in the industry's history. The Lunar New Year holidays, which start this weekend, are traditionally a peak season for restaurants, but the arrival of Omicron could put new pressure on the local food industry. Taiwan's Vice President William Lai held talks with U.S. lawmakers via video call Tuesday night during a 24-hour transit stop in Los Angeles. Lai spoke to 17 members of Congress from both the Democratic and Republican parties. They talked about trade and the threat posed by China. The vice president is passing through the United States en route to Honduras for the inauguration of President-elect Xiomara Castro on Thursday. Lai will pass through the United States again on the way back to Taiwan. He's expected to hold virtual meetings with more U.S. officials while he's there. Taiwan may soon lift a ban on food imports from the Fukushima area of Japan affected by the nuclear disaster of 2011. Taiwan is hoping to remove what could be an obstacle to the country's bid to join a regional trade pact, the CPTPP. Local media reported on Tuesday that ruling Democratic Progressive Party lawmakers are pushing for an announcement on lifting the ban as early as this week. A narrowing majority of the public opposes Fukushima food imports, but a poll on Tuesday showed the opposition is softening. Premier Su Jin-chang says the government won't compromise on food safety, but will be guided by international standards and science.
食安严格把关，绝不放水，绝不打折。但台湾是以贸易立国，我们要走向国际，非常清楚的，我们都要依据国际的标准，遵守国际的规则，政府也都会这样来做。
China's tough approach to COVID, including mass testing and large-scale lockdowns, has kept the virus in check for now. But are harsh lockdowns the only way to stop the pandemic? Our reporter Ying Kavat spoke to Digital Minister Audrey Tong, who says the Taiwan approach is about proving democracy works.
The Social Innovation Hub is a symbol of how Taiwan's military past is now an open, progressive present.
This place was literally the document and telegram center of the Air Force HQ. But we took down all the walls. It became like a public park.
And it's where you can find Taiwan's digital minister every week. Over decades, the people of Taiwan defeated a military dictatorship. Audrey Tang believes they can defeat pandemics. For that, she's found herself very much on the front lines of democracy, not just in Taiwan, but globally.
Let me turn now to Audrey Tang, the Minister without Portfolio in the government of Taiwan.
Every year, the human rights organization Civicus, with around 20 regional partners, conduct research about freedom and civic space. And Taiwan has been rated as completely open for 3 consecutive years.
But in attempting to depict that openness, Tang's presentation was suspended. The red flag? A map of civic freedoms showing Taiwan and China in different colors. It was blamed on a technical glitch. 5 days later, a speech in South Korea was cancelled, citing, quote, consideration of cross-strait issues. Cross-strait controversy is nothing new for Tang. This protest in 2014 mobilized tens of thousands of Taiwanese against a closed-door trade deal between the Kuomintang, or KMT, which was then in power, and the Chinese Communist Party. Tang, who at the time was working as a programmer in Silicon Valley, returned to help protesters communicate with the outside world. In 2016, the KMT was voted out, and Tang was taken on by the new government on a promise to begin Taiwan's digital revolution. The journey is ongoing. She wants her biggest achievement of 2022 to be
so that when people think about digital, they no longer think about centralization, authoritarianism, Terminator, or things like that, but rather think about plurality and democracy.
Digital democracy is Tang's calling, and gains have already been made. There's a national vaccine booking website, an SMS contact tracing system, and a real-time face mask availability map, all created by the Taiwanese public, which includes hackers and pharmacists, in partnership with Tang.
Innovating not just for the people, but with the people, we can take both values seriously and then deepen our democracy meanwhile.
Her efforts have been lauded by visiting dignitaries. On her Twitter feed, Tang quoted French parliamentarian Frédéric Dumas as saying, "Taiwan is the future, and the future is meant to be shared by all."
What they mean is essentially that we deepened democracy as a part of fighting the pandemic and also the infodemic, whereas in many parts of the world, what they hear is that in order to fight this, you have to centralize power, you have to take away some civic rights, you have to restrict freedom of speech and impose takedowns or lockdowns or other top-down measures.
Strict lockdowns in Chinese cities are seen as extreme by the wider international community.
A Taiwan model is fundamentally about proving that democracy works.
Government transparency has built trust, and the public has played its role in making the country safer. They were rewarded with no lockdowns. Tang says her biggest achievement in 2021 was part of Taiwan's achievement, fighting off the outbreak in May.
People were thinking that, there's just no way to shorten the contact tracing time. There was no way to drive up vaccination and things like that in such a short time, but we did it. So in around 3 short months, we did fight off the worst of the first and so far the only wave.
Tang has always been forward-looking, and now she's looking forward to a post-pandemic world. Her biggest hope for 2022 is
I get to travel freely in 2022. I already agreed to visit at least Japan and Brussels.
She will travel with a message that people make up the successful Taiwan model. Tang believes this is meant to be shared with all. Karma Xu and Ian Kavat for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. I'm Erika Liu. Finally today, we leave you with images of an upside-down house built in Guadavita, Colombia. Remember to download the TaiwanPlus app for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. See you next time. Take care.